Hi, this is Mary Scully from New Mexico Museum of Art. The museum is closed to the public right now, but we're working on ways to bring art and artists out of the museum and into your homes. And as part of that, we've moved our alcove in-gallery conversation into a digital format. So I will have a series of 5 conversations with the artists in Alcoves 2020 #3. This is the first, and I'm happy to have Debra Baxter with me today. And I want to thank her for agreeing to be part of this series and also bearing with me as this is the very first one of this set. So, hello, Debra.
Hello.
I'm sad we're not in the gallery to see your amazing sculptures, but something that I noticed is you use some very traditional materials in very untraditional ways with kind of disparate objects. And I wanted to know how you kind of got there. Did you train very traditionally in terms of casting bronze and carving, or did you begin as a painter and then find your way to sculptural materials?
Yeah, well, let's see. I think my undergraduate was at Minneapolis College of Art and Design, and I did both painting and sculpture while I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And actually a lot of video and medium format photography too. But so that was more skill-based, learning different things, not somewhat conceptually based, but not that much. And then my graduate work was at Bard College. And what's interesting about the path I've chosen is that, I feel like some of the work that was popular in New York City at the time that I was at Bard was very, I love a good lump, but it was kind of lumpy, or what one of my professors would call slapdash, which is using a lot of lumpy plaster or paper mache, or not trying to be beautiful. Like, it was not cool to make something beautiful. It still might not be cool, actually. So
but I know that era be skilled kind of work.
So I was making ugly, weird plaster stuff. I was making a lot of inflatable things that floated. You would never guess in a million years. I just like snapped one day. I went to the Complete Sculpture in New York City, which is this sculptural supply place. And in the basement, they have a room full of rocks. And at the time, I had this idea to carve Gene Simmons' tongue. I know, disgusting. But anyway, what's funny is I was like looking for a rock to carve it out of, and this large man, I was like, I'm trying to make Gene Simmons' tongue. What? And he's like, oh, that's 8.5 inches. That rock's too small. No, it's just funny that I knew that. But anyway, so I digress. So anyway,
but it's a good story.
It's just weird. But anyway, so I think in a weird way, my response to this kind of art was like the exact opposite, to make something beautiful. And I do think one professor said, why don't you make something beautiful? And I was so insulted that she didn't think anything I made was beautiful that I went, completely full circle to like super polished, beautiful things, started carving, I've always been interested in Brancusi and Louise Bourgeois and all these really traditional sculptors. But my work used to be a lot more experimental, and now it's, material-wise, and now I'm really interested in the history of sculpture and using very traditional materials, and in general, materials that endure time. Although right now, while we're all quarantined, I'm doing a sculpture a day for 30 days and putting it on my Instagram and Facebook. And those are very kind of temporary, weird materials because you can only do so much in a day. But
yeah, I've been following those. But that the work is quite classical. I'm sad that we can't show images, so I hope people will go to the website to look at those as well. But it does have a kind of appreciation and the skill of kind of classic sculpture, but also this sense of time in some of the materials, or the history of not just sculpture, but the materials, and meaning between some of the materials you've chosen and those juxtapositions. In particular, I'm thinking about minerals and crystals.
Yeah, the minerals and crystals, I mean, I was just carving alabaster for several years and then started getting interested in minerals and crystals. And some of it's from my childhood of like I mentioned it to Sharon that interviewed me for your blog, the original Superman movie, The Fortress of Solitude was crystals. My grandpa made a quartz crystal radio that actually had I don't know if you've ever seen those. They're kits you can buy that it looked like a cigar box. I still have it of my grandpa's, and it has this little sliver of quartz crystal in it, and it actually amplifies the radio signal and kind of clarifies it. So there's some background as to why I was interested in these things, and I kind of see at least quartz, but a lot of minerals as kind of something that gives you superpowers or something that can transform you from something vulnerable to something powerful.
Right, right. They're beautiful metaphors and yeah, and gorgeously constructed. So I feel like we're supposed to keep these brief. So I want to see if there's anything in particular that you would like to add about your work or, in general. Did you carve Gene Simmons' tongue?
I did. I mean, yeah. Yeah, local, yeah. So
okay, that's enough on that, but
yeah. It's disturbing, isn't it? What else do I want to add? I have to say this, I don't know if this is super relevant, but the last event I was able to go to before the quarantine was the opening and then the brunch. And
for the Alcoves?
Yeah, and it was so beautiful, the response of the art community, the general public, but also a lot of older artists came and said they had been following my work, and I had good talks with them. And there's something really magical and validating about getting to hear how the public responds to something. And it also was wonderful to work with you. You do a stellar job.
Oh, thanks. I have a great team. I work with a bunch of great people at the museum. But one of the things that we hope these talks and that we wanted the Alcoves to do was kind of reach out and engage the artist community with the general community, because there's so many important artists working and making work here. So, and I'm happy to have met you, and I'm happy that we were able to show a little bit of your work. And till we're open, I hope people go to the website and to your website. But thank you so much for being part of this experiment.
Thank you. All right. Take care. Thanks.